blockchain, Colu. Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
So the first question will be about the growing hype tendency over the blockchain. Lots of companies want to integrate the blockchain into their businesses, and lots of them do not understand what does the blockchain mean.
Yeah.
So is it true?
Yes, so I'm in this space. Colu is a company that exists for almost 3 years in the blockchain space, and I see like the cycles that this space went through. At the beginning it was Bitcoin, and people explored what we can do with Bitcoin, the technology of Bitcoin, and then blockchain, and the technology of the blockchain. I think this year a lot of the hype comes from the fact that you have a marketplace for ideas which are really not technological, like they're business concepts, like how can we disrupt Visa, how can we disrupt Amazon, how can we disrupt Facebook, social media, how we can make more inclusive funding mechanisms, and basically think about the problem that we're trying to solve and not on the solution. And I think a lot of companies in this space also went through this cycle, very similar to what Colu went through. We're now a team of 50 people, and we really started as a developer platform. And you can see that once we decided to focus on the problem and not on the solution, then the blockchain became not an end goal, but a means to an end.
So talking about the cryptocurrencies, how much of those who understand that the cryptocurrencies do not deal only with the Bitcoin?
Yeah. So I think that right now a lot of players in the game, everything's really noisy, and the biggest noise coming from Bitcoin. Bitcoin became like this solid, stable asset, like a base currency. It's funny to look at Bitcoin like as a stable, solid investment, but right now in the blockchain space it really is. It's like the most stable coin, even though we were seeing like a fluctuation, but that's crazy. And I think a lot of people are hedging. They're basically saying, when I'm investing in Bitcoin, I'm investing in what Bitcoin allows. And it's a bit like when weed became legalized in America, in some places, a lot of the real estate went up. So Bitcoin is an alternative currency that those ideas affect it very much. I don't think without Ethereum and the ideas that Ethereum brought, Bitcoin would be $15,000 or like 17. I don't follow. It's like changing so rapidly.
Yeah. So can the cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, become a target for hackers' attack? What do you think?
So everything will become a target for hacker attack. But that's the strength of the blockchain. Right now it's unprecedented. We have like $400 billion in assets, all held in open source code, very transparent, up for grabs for every hacker. And the fact that you have this ability to provide such incentive for hackers and such big value and stake, then it forces you to upgrade your infrastructure. And you can see how this model of making a transparent infrastructure where everybody can see what's behind the hood creates this systemic upgrade in security, as opposed to a bank that builds a centralized system in a group of small people, and there's absolutely no transparency. And if somebody hacks them, we'll probably never know.
It's very interesting. You know that there are lots of course, lots of blockchain startups now, and where can the blockchain startuppers search for the investors?
So I think that good ideas are sweeping people little by little. And I think in this space it's really hard to try to stay focused on a very specific goal and sweep behind you a community, a movement. And this all revolves around creating trust in the team, creating trust in the team's capability of executing their goals, and creating an alignment of like everybody's pushing for the same goal. And this just takes time. So if a team works on open source stuff, he has good execution capabilities, it wouldn't go unnoticed by investors. Think about think about the fact that there's like 10,000 people that are doing due diligence for your startup. This is a huge benefit, the fact that you're public and you can approach everybody from all countries. So I'm saying don't look for influencers, and never trust like somebody who says, okay, I know how to do I know how to do an ICO, because raising the funds is a one-time event. It comes and goes, but you need to stay with those investors after you raised, and you need to build the product, and you need to understand the economics, and you need to execute on a high scale, and really requires to shut down all the noise. And I think looking for investors is something that puts a lot of noise, and just put it aside and focus on the product and think investors will come. So maybe a bit naive, but I really believe it. I saw past examples. Like there are a lot of companies right now that raised almost without any PR. Cardano, nobody knew that they were doing an ICO. They raised money very quietly, and they built a good product.
So and where are they from?
From Japan or Hong Kong, but right now they're like in the top 10 or top 20 currencies, and they did an ICO, but nobody heard about it. Blockstack almost didn't communicate anything about their ICO, and they were flooded with people that wanted to invest, because again they build an ecosystem, they build a community, they build trust. It just takes time.
So you were talking about the Japan blockchain projects.
Yeah.
And what countries do you think have created the most advantageous conditions for the blockchain? Who is ready for the blockchain? What countries are?
So I think that our thinking shouldn't be what countries are ready, because I think in the near term regulation will be misunderstood. The only thing regulation can do right now, if we're looking at borders, is making it hard for certain people to buy ICOs. It doesn't really prevent them from anything. Stopping ICOs is a bit like stopping tax havens, like Cayman Islands and stuff like that. Only a coordinated attack, against tax havens can really, really do something about it. ICOs is the same thing. There's a misunderstanding. Regulators need to put boundaries so ICOs could operate and raise money within their local economies. They shouldn't, by all means, say we don't want it. That's why I think no regulator is really mature enough. And I think pretty much everybody are only looking at the SEC in this space. They're looking for some American regulator that will do a tight action against ICOs, and then they can act. But up until then, everybody just waiting, and I would predict like ICOs will be with us for years. Live in some gray area.
So since the cryptocurrency is based on the decentralized system, the government want to control the use of the blockchain. So who, in your opinion, who can the government make accountable?
So I think that the first and foremost concern for regulators is money laundering. If we can tackle this concern, and I think Russia has an interesting idea of how to do it with the crypto ruble. And basically you're saying there's a sovereign ledger, there's a national ledger, and there's the global public infrastructure. And if we want to regulate people that are entering between those two ecosystems, we need to create an on-off ramp for people that want to declare, we got this money from Bitcoin and we want to pay tax. And you're basically streamlining tax payment. And when you're streamlining tax payment, you're increasing your taxation base. So I think fighting black economy, understanding how to regulate Bitcoin, everything ties down to do your regulation digitally. And if you do your regulation correctly and digitally, not analog but digital, then you'll have a really path for gaining from this boom, But if you're only looking at, okay, we want people to register in our ledger, and for the entire world to use the Russian ledger or something like that, this is the wrong thinking.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.